I feel like I'm floating through it.
Every day in my work, I talk about us stopping to focus on the labels. Because when we get to the ground, when we get to the basics, the labels are not important. The important thing is we have a group of human beings that need to access services. The question we must ask ourselves is, what are the barriers to accessing services for everyone?
Sometimes people have asked me, why are you so passionate about this LGBT? Are you lesbian or whatever? And I'm like, being passionate about something does not necessarily, you don't necessarily have to be. You need to appreciate and understand the issue at hand and believe in making life better for everyone.
I was nearly 10 years ago as homophobic as the next man, as the next educated man. We get educated, we travel around the world, and we think we know things. But when it gets to this particular subject, your skin crawls. I was like that too. And I was a doctor, and I was working in HIV and AIDS, and I was afraid. And what I was afraid of, and I think that is what most people are afraid of, was being violated by another man.
In the general population, most people, if you're in the right space, will fairly quickly say, actually, I don't even know what I'm really talking about here, and can you please explain a bit more? And what we've found is that if you create the right space and you create the right kind of parameters for a discussion, most people are actually more curious than they are homophobic. Sure, they're ill-informed, and that leads them to saying things in particular ways that can be interpreted as very homophobic. But often, they just don't know better. They don't have the language, they don't have the concepts, they don't have the information.
We need to open the debate. We need for people like you who say, look, I am MSM, to be seen on television, to debate with those people who think that your being MSM is a threat to them. And once people, and I believe that people who are the most homophobic have never actually met and shaken hands or sat down to eat with somebody who is MSM. Knowingly.
Everybody is unique. Everybody experiences things in a different way, and therefore, just because we are going through the same kind of situation does not mean that we are going to experience it the same. We are going to react the same way. And each of us needs to be given that space to bring it out the way we feel it. And that is why everybody's voice is important.
You can be proudly gay and still be a professional person. You can still be a lesbian and run your family very smoothly. You don't need to hide behind marriage or what the society expects of you. You don't have to conform. You can still be yourself and proudly be who you are, because your sexuality is not restricted by your career. And the more people come out and the more people are able to actually show they are able to be to perform and compete in equal measure like anybody else, then I believe people will stop stigmatizing or having prejudices.
I think our achievement within Refugee Law Project has been to demonstrate that a so-called mainstream organization with the right kinds of discussions could actually become a very safe space for LGBTI individuals.
One candle at a time. When I light a candle in somebody's life, that means we are now two. I'm no longer alone. And so there is a multiplier effect so long as we are continuing. So let's empower these people enough to be able to speak for themselves. And I believe then the light becomes bigger and bigger. And the more ignorance is taken out, the more understanding is created, the more people begin to accept each other for who they are, as opposed to what they have, where they come from, the color of their skin, all those kind of level of education, nothing. I always say it like this. What is the difference between a dead body of a queen and a dead body of a slave?
People end up respecting you for standing up for your rights. Because if people have fought for equality in marriage, people have fought for equality and non-discrimination in other areas, why shouldn't a lesbian woman be able to fight for equality in whatever they need, wherever they are?
In Zambia, how can anybody choose to be gay? How can you choose to be what is happening now, where you speak out and the police are waiting for you to pick up because they think that you are gay? How can anybody come out openly? We need to, and I think I have an answer to that. I have an answer, but nobody wants to listen to it. In Malawi was one of the most homophobic countries, at least, in our neighborhood. Zimbabwe, the president is very anti, but I've not heard that he has put people in jail. In Malawi, they did. They took two guys who were living together and celebrated an engagement or whatever and put them in jail. And we were like, oh, And that's happening here. But you know what they've done in Malawi? They have suspended the law. The president there, who's a woman, the women are going to deliver us. You know that? I say that about HIV in Zambia. The women are going to find the answers for us. We need to listen to them more. A woman president said, look, we are suspending this law. Nobody should be arrested for being openly gay or for even engaging in the unnatural act, which is what our law says. It is the engagement in the act. And how many people see us in the act? Yeah. So they've suspended the law and they are going to review it. They're going to start talking to say what is relevant. They might come back with even stiffer laws, but they have given themselves the chance to debate and agree as a country. We haven't here. And that's all that I'm calling for.
I feel like I'm forced to break the silence. Is that a crime? Is that a crime?